Welcome. We're doing a deep dive today into customer experience. We've got some great sources you shared. And the mission really is to pull out the key stuff, especially for, businesses like Christmas light and permanent LED trim light companies.
Right.
And what's interesting is this idea that, yeah, the product's got to be good, but the experience, that can be the real difference maker.
Totally. It drives loyalty, referrals.
Especially maybe with clients who are looking for that premium touch, right? They might pay a bit more for top-tier service.
Exactly. In home services like lighting, it's so visual, so personal. It's not just buying lights off a shelf.
Yeah.
You're buying the whole interaction, the design, the install, everything. That shapes how people feel, whether they stick with you.
Okay, so our main source here is this chat between Shep Hyken, the customer service guy, and Katie Mayers, the brand experience expert.
A really insightful one.
They talk about building a five-star experience. Let's maybe jump into Mayers' steps. The first one seemed, well, simple but deep. What you say and how you say it matters.
It sounds basic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's fundamental. Think about that first contact. Maybe a consultant visiting a home for, say, permanent lighting.
Huh.
The language they use.
Mm.
Is it clear, respectful, or is it all jargon?
Right, you don't want to confuse people.
No, in the tone.
Yeah.
Warm, positive.
Mm.
It builds trust instantly.
Mm.
That's huge when you're talking about someone's home.
It really is. You're literally on their property discussing changes. If that first interaction feels off.
Yeah, it sets a bad tone right away.
Nair's also mentioned using the customer's name. Simple, but powerful.
Oh, absolutely. It signals recognition. You're not just job number 37. You're Mrs. Smith.
Huh, right.
Especially with something like custom lighting design, it makes the customer feel seen, like their specific vision matters. It's personal.
Yeah, it moves it away from just being a transaction. Okay, point 3 was be genuine. How does a company, like a lighting installer, actually show they care? Beyond just, doing the job.
Well, authenticity.
Mm.
It comes through in a few ways. Proactive communication is a big one.
Like keeping them updated?
Exactly. Telling them the timeline if there are any snags, checking in afterwards. It shows you're invested in their satisfaction, not just the check. And attention to detail during the work. Are the crews careful? Do they clean up? Answer questions.
Little things that show respect for their space.
Yeah. And maybe a sincere follow-up call a week later.
Yeah.
How are the lights? Everything working okay? It shows you're thinking about them long term.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about proving it's more than just money changing hands. Okay, this next one's interesting. Anticipate their needs and deliver that +1.
Ah, the +1.
Yeah, so not just meeting expectations, but like exceeding them in a smart way. What could that look like for lighting?
Okay, well, imagine the consultants there, right?
Yep.
They notice some really nice architectural features. Maybe they suggest a subtle uplighting technique the homeowner hadn't even thought of.
Oh, nice. Adding value based on expertise.
Exactly. Or maybe for permanent lights, they offer a quick guide on creating different scenes for holidays or parties using the app.
Okay, practical help.
Or even just proactively scheduling a check-in before the busy holiday season for Christmas light clients. It's about thinking ahead for them. That's the +1.
I like that architectural suggestion idea. It shows real thought.
Yeah.
Okay, final step in this initial set. Be a hero. This is about when things go wrong, isn't it?
Precisely. Because, let's face it, mistakes happen.
Sure. Schedules slip, maybe a light isn't quite right.
Yeah. And Mir says something fascinating. Service recovery is so important because you can sometimes gain better loyalty through recovery than the experience you have designed.
Wow. So fixing a mistake well can actually make them more loyal.
It sounds counterintuitive, but yeah. Think about it. If there's, say, a scheduling mix-up and the company calls immediately, apologizes sincerely, explains what happened, and maybe offers a small discount or prioritizes the reschedule.
Okay.
That response, that honesty and effort can build massive trust. It shows you stand by your service even when things aren't perfect.
It shows character, I guess. Like, okay, they messed up, but they owned it and made it right. I can see how that builds confidence.
Definitely. It turns a potential disaster into a loyalty-building moment.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, the interview highlighted the massive influence of women on spending.
Oh yeah, numbers are huge.
Something like $43 trillion worldwide annually. And they refer businesses they like way more often than men, like 25–35% more.
That's incredibly relevant for home services.
How so, specifically for lighting?
Well, while decisions might be joint, women often drive the aesthetic choices for the home. Think curb appeal, ambiance.
Things lighting directly impacts.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if the experience is positive, respectful, if the communication is great, if the install team is professional, you're not just pleasing one person, you're often impressing the key decision maker, or at least a major influencer, who is also more likely to tell her friends, her family, her colleagues.
Right, tapping into that powerful referral network.
Mayor's mentioned women influence spending across, what, 3 to 5 generations?
Yeah, that blew my mind. It's not just about today's sale.
No, it's about building a reputation that echoes. A good experience with, say, permanent lighting could lead to her kids calling you years later for their homes.
That word of mouth, amplified. It's invaluable, really.
Absolutely. It's long-term thinking. Treat every customer well, because the ripple effect, especially through female networks, can be enormous.
Okay, so another theme was balancing technology and the human touch.
Mm-hmm. Very relevant now.
We've got online booking, automated reminders, maybe even AI for initial queries.
Super efficient can be really convenient.
But the point made was we can't lose the human side, right? Especially in services. There's that quote. Your customers are not bots, they are humans. We still need to give a human experience because people do business with people, not businesses.
That sums it up perfectly. Think about designing a complex Christmas light display. Can a chatbot really capture the nuance, the feeling someone wants?
Probably not.
Or troubleshooting an issue with permanent LEDs over the phone. Sometimes you need that human empathy, that patient explanation.
Yeah, that personal connection.
A friendly installer who takes the time to walk you through the controls, a quick check-in call from a real person, that stuff matters. It makes people feel valued, not processed.
Technology supports, it doesn't replace entirely, especially when things get complex or personal.
Right. You need that blend.
Yeah.
Tech for efficiency, humans for connection, and complex problem solving.
Which leads nicely into the money aspect, the link between customer experience and revenue.
The bottom line.
The interview suggests a good CX can potentially double revenue in, 36 months?
Yeah, a significant claim, but it makes sense.
And this ties back to the idea of premium clients, right? People willing to pay more.
Exactly. For many clients, especially those investing in higher-end permanent lighting or elaborate holiday displays, the service is a huge part of the value.
It's not just the lowest bidder.
No way. They might happily pay a bit more for a company that communicates flawlessly, shows up on time, has incredibly professional crews, offers creative design input, and provides rock-solid support.
So the experience itself becomes a reason to choose you, even at a higher price.
Precisely. It justifies the premium. They're buying peace of mind, reliability, a pleasant interaction, along with the lights.
There was another quote related to this. Often we forget that our customers are humans who want an experience. It is up to us to elevate that experience.
And create trust that will lead to customer loyalty, increased referrals, and increased revenue. It connects all the dots.
Trust seems key there, especially for higher value projects.
Absolutely. They're trusting you with their home, their investment. A consistently excellent experience builds that trust like nothing else.
Okay, and one final point that seemed really practical was about tailoring the experience.
Yeah, that it doesn't always have to be some grand gesture.
Right. The quote was, "You don't need to provide an over-the-top experience. It is all about tailoring the experience for the right moment."
Which is so true.
How would that apply, say, to a busy Christmas light season or a permanent LED project?
Well, tailoring could mean offering super flexible installation windows during November, knowing everyone's crazy busy.
Okay, understanding their time pressure.
Or, for a permanent lighting client, maybe noticing they host a lot of parties and proactively sending them some custom scene ideas before their next event.
Personalized value again.
Or even just clear, proactive communication about potential weather delays for an install. A simple heads up before they have to call you.
So it's about anticipating those specific friction points or opportunities for that customer in that moment.
Exactly. Small, thoughtful, relevant actions often mean more than a generic gift basket. It shows you're paying attention to them.
Being attuned, really.
Yeah. Listening, observing, and responding appropriately.
Okay, so wrapping this up. It feels like the big takeaway for Christmas and permanent lighting businesses, especially those aiming for that premium market, is that nailing the customer experience is just non-negotiable. It's not fluff. It's core strategy.
Absolutely. Clear communication, genuine care, anticipating needs, fixing problems gracefully, that human touch.
It all builds trust, loyalty, referrals.
And it justifies the value proposition, allowing you to attract and keep clients who appreciate and will pay for superior service alongside a great product.
The experience is part of what they're buying.
Totally. In this field, where aesthetics and home pride are so central, the journey matters almost as much as the destination, you know? Companies getting that right are the ones set up for real success.
Makes perfect sense. So here's a final thought for everyone listening. Thinking about all this, what's maybe one small, specific change you could make in your customer interactions starting tomorrow that could shift someone from just satisfied to being a real fan? Someone who doesn't just come back but tells everyone they know about your amazing service. Where's that opportunity to go beyond the expected, even just a little bit? Something to think about. Thanks for digging into this with us.